We're all storytellers at heart. And the biggest story, the one that kind of shapes everything else, is always the first one. Where did we come from? Where did all this come from? Every single culture has its own answer, its own creation story, and it's fundamental to who they are. So, let's just put it out there. How was the world created? For a lot of us, one specific story probably just popped into your head. But what if I told you that story has a long-lost relative, a kind of cousin text with some seriously fascinating and different details? Okay, so let's dive in. On one side, we've got the Book of Genesis. It's the story many of us know about the 6 days of creation. But on the other side, there are these other ancient accounts, these parallel traditions that have been preserved for centuries, just kind of waiting in the wings. Today, we're going to pull one of those texts right into the spotlight. It's an incredible ancient Ethiopic work, and it's called the Axsimaros. So what exactly is the Axsimaros? Well, it's an ancient text, one that's been saved in the Ethiopic language. And what it does is it takes that familiar 6-day creation story and just blows it up, adding these incredible new layers of detail you won't find anywhere in Genesis. And what kind of details are we talking about here? Well, for one, it doesn't just say the heavens. Oh no, it describes the creation of 3 totally distinct heavens. It also gives this super detailed backstory for the angels and their fall. Seriously, think of it like the director's cut of Genesis. Same basic plot, but the lore is just turned up to 11. But the story inside the book, that's only half of it. The story of the book, how it survived and where it's been, is just as amazing. I mean, this text is a true world traveler. You can literally trace its journey across the ancient world. It started out as a Greek text, what they called a hexameron, which just means 6 days. From there, it traveled into the Arab world and got an Arabic translation. And then finally, around the 15th century, it makes its way to Ethiopia, where it's translated into Ethiopic and becomes the Axsimaros we know today. This one book is like a roadmap of how ideas flowed between different cultures. All right, let's get to the really juicy stuff. What makes this text so different? This is where the Axsimaros really carves its own path and diverges from the story many of us grew up with. And this is where it really gets wild. Okay, so Genesis says God created the heavens, plural. The Axsimaros gets way more specific. It describes 3 separate heavens, each with its own job. One for us, humanity, one for the angels, and then the highest one, which is the throne of God. And remember those fallen angels? Genesis kind of hints at them. The Axsimaros gives you the entire backstory, a full, detailed account of the angelic hierarchy, how they were created, and the whole dramatic story of their rebellion. It's basically the expanded universe of ancient creation. Now, you're probably thinking a 15th century Ethiopic text is something locked away in some dusty university archive, right? Seen only by a few scholars. And, well, you'd be half right, but its story definitely doesn't end there. I mean, yeah, academics are doing absolutely crucial work. They use manuscript studies and text criticism, which is basically like being a detective for ancient documents, to piece all this history together. But the story has a whole other, way more modern chapter. Because this text isn't just being studied in a lab somewhere, it's being shared. Right now, today, you can go online and find audio recordings of the Axsimaros being read out loud on platforms like YouTube. This incredible ancient story has made the leap from scroll to book to digital stream, and it's landing a whole new audience right now. So why does a text like this even matter, right? Why get excited about some different version of a story we think we already know? Well, because it's like opening a window to our shared past. Here's the big takeaway. The Axsimaros is living proof that stories aren't static things frozen in time. They travel. They get translated, they adapt, and in doing that, they weave this amazing thread connecting different languages, different religions, and totally different cultures over thousands of years. It's a map of human connection, written down in ink. And that just leaves us with one final and kind of mind-blowing question. The Axsimaros survived all these centuries, just waiting to be discovered by a wider audience. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other histories, what other incredible stories are still out there, just hiding in plain sight?